The eviction notice hit my chest at exactly 8:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. Pink paper, official-looking seal, the kind of thing you'd expect from a movie about the end of the world, except this wasn't Hollywood. This was real life. And the worst part was, I owned the damn house, paid cash, not a penny owed to anybody. Just me, my morning coffee, and the deed sitting right there in my filing cabinet. Brenda Cowich, president of our HOA, late 50s, helmet of frosted blonde highlights, leopard print cardigan, so loud you could probably hear it across state lines. She's the one who delivered it. 2 security guards flanking her like she's the sheriff serving a warrant on a dangerous outlaw. "This neighborhood has standards," she announced, making sure half the street could hear. "And you clearly don't meet them." I didn't even bother standing up. Just took another sip of coffee, smiled at her, because what Brenda didn't know, what she was about to learn the hard, expensive way, was that her little power trip was about to end in flames. Yeah, that happened. So, let me ask you, what would you do if someone tried to steal your own home, right out from under you? Drop your answer below, and let me know where you're watching from. Because, trust me, HOA horror stories don't have borders. Let me back up. Name's Garrett, and I'm probably not the guy you picture when you hear, owns 7 properties by 45. I spent 12 years in the Marines, 2 tours, a lifetime's worth of sand in my boots, and a back injury that ended my career but taught me the lesson of a lifetime: adapt or die. The Corps gave me a toolkit, a modest pension, and a VA loan I meant to use wisely. First house I bought was in Pinehurst Meadows, a basic 3-bed ranch in a planned community just outside Charlotte, North Carolina. Not fancy, not even particularly pretty, but it was mine. The day I closed, I stood in the empty living room and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace, that deep, solid feeling that comes from owning something nobody can take away. Turns out, I loved renovation, ripping out carpets, patching drywall, that satisfying crunch of a drill in new lumber. Home Depot runs became my therapy. I learned everything on YouTube, and before long, my house looked better than what the builder left behind. Then I noticed all these foreclosures and estate sales popping up in my own neighborhood, properties going for 60 cents on the dollar. Over 4 years, I quietly scooped up 6 more. All rentals, all kept up, all bringing in enough income that I could sleep at night. I did it quietly, through an LLC called Summit Holdings, so generic you'd never connect it to me. My tenants were solid folks, a teacher, a nurse, a retired couple, young family. Everyone paid on time. Everyone took care of their space. Pinehurst Meadows was your typical suburb, 140 homes, mostly families and retirees. The HOA charged $85 a month for some lawn mowing, a pool nobody used, and a clubhouse that smelled like burnt coffee and crushed dreams. For years, the board was invisible. The last president retired to Florida. The VP didn't want the job, and then Brenda rolled in like she was running for Congress, blasting about restoring neighborhood pride. She won with 19 votes out of 140 homes. That should tell you how little people cared. First time I met Brenda, I was out replacing my mailbox post in the July heat. So hot the asphalt shimmered. And here comes the unmistakable click of heels. Not sneakers, not flip-flops, heels in 90 degrees. Brenda materialized in her trademark cardigan, radiating perfume so strong it beat out the smell of fresh concrete. "You must be Garrett," she said, hand out, nails painted coral pink. "Just wanted to introduce myself and make sure you're aware of our community standards." I shook her hand, firm grip, old habits, and she started in on lawn height, trash cans, all that jazz. Then her eyes flicked to my truck. "That's not a commercial vehicle, is it?" she asked, clipboard already in hand. "Personal use," I replied. She made a note, clicked away, and left behind a feeling that trouble had just crossed my doorstep. I should have trusted my gut. 2 weeks later, the first violation notice arrived. Certified mail, thick envelope, official HOA letterhead, the works, notice of violation. Commercial vehicle in residential driveway. According to the rules, only trucks over a ton or with company logos were banned. Mine was 3/4 ton, no signage, just a blue F-150 with a little dust from Home Depot. I took photos, sent Brenda an email citing the rules. Next day, the board has reviewed your appeal and determined the violation stands. You have 8 days to comply. Discretionary authority. The two most dangerous words in HOA land. I showed up at the next board meeting expecting democracy, found Brenda alone at a folding table, Amazon sticker still on the gavel. The treasurer and secretary positions are currently vacant, she said. One person, she was judge, jury, and executioner, all in one. I laid out my evidence. She ignored it, moved on. I pointed out that her friend Craig's Silverado was just as heavy as my truck, parked out in the open. Mr. Dietrich is a valued, cooperative resident, she said, smiling a smile that could cut glass. From that moment, Brenda declared war. For the next 6 weeks, I got violation notices like clockwork, grass too tall by a quarter inch, trash can visible, unapproved paint color, wind chimes, garden gnome too tall by half an inch. Fines started stacking, $1.50 a day, soon $850. Even my mail carrier started giving me sympathy looks. I hired Consuelo Verne, a lawyer who specialized in HOA disputes, $2.50 an hour, worth every penny. She fired off a cease and desist letter. Brenda's response came from a downtown law firm. Allegations are meritless. Next notice, my mailbox post was faded and deteriorated. It was weathered cedar, on purpose. Now the fines were $2,200. Consuelo warned me, "You're right on every count, but litigation is slow and expensive." But the Marines taught me, bullies only stop when you make them. So I hit the books. North Carolina Statute 47F-3-118 gives property owners the right to HOA records within 10 days of written request. I sent a certified letter asking for everything: minutes, finances, contracts, violation logs. Brenda replied on day 9. All financial documents are under audit. Estimated 60 to 90 days. Right. Translation: hiding something. I posted in the neighborhood Facebook group. Anyone else getting HOA violations lately? 47 comments in 3 hours. Iris, my 70-something neighbor, messaged me. Brenda dinged her 4 weeds, which were pollinator plants she'd had for 5 years. The Nguyen family got fined for a basketball hoop. Meanwhile, Brenda's friends parked RVs, let their lawns die, no fines. I ran into Iris at the hardware store. Brenda keeps mentioning a buyer for my house, she whispered, hands shaking. That's when it clicked. This wasn't about rules, it was a shakedown. Harass people until they sell, funnel the properties to friends for a kickback. Game on. Late November, the pink paper showed up. Not a violation, but the eviction notice from the opening of this story. Brenda tried to use a bogus North Carolina statute, evictions for non-payment of fines, except that's not how the law works. HOAs can place liens for unpaid dues, but can't evict owners. It takes court and foreclosure. But the document looked official enough to scare most folks. Brenda stood in my driveway, security guards by her side. Lawyers will sort it out, she said, fake sweet, telling me to start packing. I sipped my coffee. I'll take it under advisement. Her smile faltered. I closed the door in her face. First call, Consuela. This is fraud. She's impersonating legal authority. You could press charges. Not yet. I wanted to see how far Brenda would push. Next move, I posted the fake eviction notice to the Facebook group. Comments exploded, dozens of families with the same stories. Brenda's allies called me a troublemaker, but neutral neighbors started asking questions. Dell, a retired electrician and ex-union guy, messaged, "Check the HOA financials. Something's off. We used to have money." I pulled up public tax filings. The HOA collected $142,000 in dues over 2 years, claimed $89,000 for landscaping. The real bill was $31,000 a year. The difference, $58,000, was paid to a shell company, Pinarus Property Solutions, registered to Brenda's brother. Audit completed, records arrived. Every check told the same story. Brenda had been siphoning money for years. Now, here's where it gets delicious. I owned 6 properties in the community, including the one Brenda rented. She was 2 months behind on rent, $3,700 owed. Her lease banned running a business from the house. She'd been using it for all HOA business. I called my property manager, sent a pay or quit notice. Didn't say who the tenant was, didn't need to. That card would play itself. Meanwhile, the neighborhood split. Brenda dropped glossy flyers painting me as a slumlord and absentee investor. The other side started a counter-campaign, Know the Truth, with screenshots, testimonials, everything. I stayed in the background, focused on getting signatures for a recall election. 14 were needed. I had 17. Then Iris said the thing that made me laugh out loud. Brenda doesn't own her house. She rents, and she's my tenant. My kitchen filled with shocked laughter when I revealed that at a quiet meeting with Dell and Iris. Sometimes, life writes better punchlines than fiction. Emergency HOA meeting. Brenda tried to jack dues up by 40% to cover legal fees. I walked to the front, plugged my laptop into the clubhouse TV, and laid out the evidence. Shell companies, fake contracts, payments to Brenda's brother. Dell and Iris called for a full audit and to rescind all violation notices. I pulled out the recall petition. Brenda's face went white. She stormed out to the sound of slow clapping. What followed was a blur: legal filings, social media campaigns, a TV news segment. Brenda printed new flyers smearing me, tried to ban rentals, even tried to bribe Dell to drop out of the recall election, left $2,000 in cash on his porch. We documented it all. My property manager filed the eviction notice on Brenda. Timing lined up perfectly. She was served by the sheriff the same afternoon as the recall election. Election night. The clubhouse was packed, news cameras rolling, neighbors tense. Patricia, our independent election monitor, kept things fair. Voting was secret, democratic, real. Brenda tried to grandstand, accused me of being a slumlord. I stood up, explained my ownership, and then calmly revealed that Brenda, HOA president, terror of the block, was my tenant, 3 months behind on rent, served with a real eviction notice, and in breach of her lease for running unauthorized business. The room erupted. Brenda fled, tears streaking her makeup, and nobody followed. Results were red: Dell president, Iris treasurer, Marcus secretary. Brenda out, by a landslide. The new board moved fast, refunded bogus fines, cut dues by 15%, overhauled enforcement, hired auditors. Brenda moved out, left her rental trashed. We sued. Her brother paid restitution. Brenda disappeared to Florida, and the DA declined to prosecute. But the neighborhood changed. That spring, the new board used the settlement funds to start a scholarship program and community repair fund. We planted wildflowers, painted the clubhouse. Neighbors showed up for each other again. I updated all my leases with anti-harassment addendums. The HOA became a model community, news coverage, even a little local fame. A year later, standing in my living room at an open house, chili on the stove, friends laughing, kids playing, I realized it was never about trucks or grass height. It was about standing up for dignity, for the right to live in peace, and for showing bullies the door. So, if you're stuck in HOA hell, remember, document everything, know your laws, find allies, stay calm, and never make it personal. Justice, not revenge. Now I want to hear from you. What's your wildest HOA story? Drop a comment, share your craziest fine, or tell me what injustice still keeps you up at night. And if you're fighting your own HOA nightmare, reach out. Maybe your story will help someone else win. Don't forget to subscribe, because trust me, these stories get even wilder. Until next time, know your rights, stand your ground, and never let the Brendas win. Peace.